Hey you guys, first of all, if you are not subscribed to this channel, please do hit the subscribe button as well as the bell so that anytime any new content is uploaded, you will be the first to hear about it. And check it out, leave comments. You know, it's a back and forth thing here, right? I put out the content. I love that feedback as well, you guys. But let's just get into this video. All right, you guys, my message in this video, if you guys take nothing away from this video, and we're going to check out some content, we're actually going to look at a few videos, we're going to do a little discussion, you guys. But if you guys take nothing away from this video, the one main thing that I hope you guys take away is that do not get lost in the sauce. I repeat, do not get lost in the sauce, y'all. And what do I mean by do not get lost in the sauce? What I mean is do not get lost in the political sauce, okay?
Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win. God bless you.
The best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act.
For you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Also, you guys, so this was at the National Association of Black Journalists that was held in Chicago, you guys. Yeah.
When asked about his opponent, Trump tried out a new attack strategy, falsely claiming Kamala Harris only recently identified as black.
She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black.
In reality, Harris has long identified as black, attending a historically black college and speaking openly of her Indian-born mother and Jamaican-born father. Trump's comments drew audible gasps from the packed room of black journalists from around the country, many of whom felt the NABJ should have never invited Trump to begin with.
You guys, as you guys see, it's still it's still a circus, okay? You got Trump here clowning, showing his whole behind, okay? We're gonna keep it PG. He's showing his whole behind at the NABJ, and you know, you have Biden now wearing a Kamala mask, and we're supposed to vote. Like, all I'm saying, you guys, is don't get lost in the political sauce. That's it. So if you take nothing else from it, I'm not endorsing at all whatsoever Trump, and I am not endorsing Kamala. I'm just saying, keep your eyes open, stay woke, you guys. For the first time ever, people have been really kind of like waking up. All right, now I'm gonna say the newer generation. I'm gonna say the 2000s babies, maybe the late 90s babies. People have really been waking up just in general at the political climate and just the world in general, right? I kind of feel like Cat Williams said it best in his interview on Club Shay Shay when he said, what did he say? Time is up, you know, meaning, you know, how they say the powers that be, you know, their time is winding down because people are basically pretty much waking up. In our recent our two political candidates, I'll say that our recent two political candidates have been, one, you know, we have our felon, and then we had a man with Alzheimer's, okay? And meanwhile, okay, so neither are looking like too tempting a vote, right? And let's just start on one end. I'll just say this. On the Democratic end, and I have always voted Democratic. I always have. Only recently have I, like many other Americans, kind of stepped back and say, I don't know how I'm going to vote. I don't even know, you know, what should I vote? Green Party, third party, don't vote at all. Like, what, you know, let me take a moment. On one hand, right, Joe Biden, what I think that okay, Joe Biden, aside from the Alzheimer's, right, which the man is old enough to, at this point, I believe, just retire, enjoy old age gracefully. It's all good. You know, whatever he stumbles, he forgets his words, where he's at and stuff like that. All of that is a natural kind of lapse that comes with age, and it's what it is. Him as a president, let's look at some of the main points that I think we tend to get lost in the sauce with. But let's look at this. Are we as Americans, for the past 4 years, were we pleased with inflation? Have we been pleased with the migrant situation? And I'm going to come back, let's stick a little pin in it. I'm going to come back to the migrant situation because I don't mean it quite like how some people may think that I mean it. But have we been pleased with the migrant situation? Have we been pleased with all the funding that has gone to Israel to fund the bombs back and forth, the war with Gaza? Have we been pleased that that's the way a lot of our tax-paying dollars have gone? Those are some pretty huge major issues, right? And I'm not saying there aren't other issues, but those are main ones that really stick out. Like, I'm thinking about recent protests and things like that. A lot of those things have been around some of the issues that I brought up. Now, let me come back to the migrant situation. How I feel about the migrant situation is this. I feel that America was built on migrants. Well, actually, no. America was not built on migrants. America was built on slavery. It was built on the slaves, on slave labor, free labor. But it is a home, I should say that America is home to many, many migrants, right? People migrating from all parts of the world. Where I think the whole open door policy went wrong was that there was no kind of like accounting. There's some people that genuinely wanted to come into the country, and they wanted to escape, the situation of their country and where they were at, and they were happy to come on in, to come through the borders. And then there were some that were criminals. Not all, but there are some that were criminals. There were some that were fleeing maybe persecution for maybe their own crimes or whatever that came on over too, because there was no checks and balances as to who got to come through, right? It's one thing if somebody's like a refugee, and then there's another of just saying, hey, open borders, anybody who wants to come on in, come on in. And how I feel about that is that, first of all, take care of home. Okay, take care of home. If you have people that have served this country, you have veterans that are homeless, veterans that are living under bridges, okay, homeless people living on the streets before the migrants that were not taken care of. How dare you? And I'm talking political, right? Right? I'm talking about the whole policy, but how dare they open up the borders, which further threw things off, right? And in my opinion, the whole migration thing, the situation with the migrants was unfair. Everybody got screwed, in my opinion, right? I feel like the American people got screwed, and that if you're already on a boat, right? A boat that's already is pretty filled up. Got a few holes and cracks or whatever, and you're steady piling on, right? The people in the boat are going to sink. And that's how I feel about America. In most major cities now, right? Most major cities, a lot of poor people are going to have to compete for jobs, right? That now they're going to have to compete with the influx of migrants that have come in. Maybe they thought, well, if they're being invited to come on over, that they wouldn't be living in the street with their families, which many of them are. If you go to any of the major cities, you're seeing migrants all up and down the streets with families, begging, asking for money. Some are hustling, right? Maybe they're trying to sell stuff on the corners and things like that. But there are many that are homeless. There are some that have been put up in housing and things like that, which again, to me, is a slap in the face of the American people, because they were homeless people that are natural citizens here that have not been put up in homes, right? But that's something that was given to migrants, which I just, like I say, I don't get it. But there are many migrants that have not been put into housing. There are many migrants that are homeless on the street with their families, begging, asking for money and different things like that, right? So it just basically, that influx, that open door policy with no checks and balances, without the care of taking care of home first, right? In my opinion, like I say, it wasn't fair to anybody. To me, it's not fair to the American people. It basically changed the landscape. And when I say change the landscape, I mean it definitely the levels of homelessness, crime, and all that comes with having a huge influx without any real way of really caring for people. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's equivalent to somebody saying, hey, you can come stay at my house, and they think they have a place for you at your house, but they're talking about, oh, well, you actually have to stay out in the backyard, or, you know, you could kind of stay on the steps because I'm already pretty filled up, but yeah, everybody could come on, hang on over here. Same way, that's how I feel with the whole open border policy. Just everybody got screwed. The migrants got screwed. They weren't taken care of the way that they should have been taken care of with the whole, hey, come on, open door policy, open border policy. To me, the migrants haven't been taken care of the American people have not been taken care of. And it just threw everything that was already out of whack even further out of whack, out of balance, okay? So that's how I feel about the whole migrant situation, inflation. What is really, I mean, like, my God, okay? Almost $10 for a dozen of eggs, you guys. Like, I'm just saying, let's look at some of those main issues. Let's also look at the war in Gaza. I've never seen so many protests. What I thought was so interesting too, barely touched on, if at all, during the presidential debate, which we know Biden has stepped down, right? But what I thought was so fascinating was that all through the news, the American people have been protesting left and right on America funding Israel to go, to war with Gaza, right? And the extermination of the Palestinian people. Was that really a topic? A major topic during the presidential debate? No, not really, because they actually both stand on funding Israel. So, I mean, like, so when I say don't get lost in the sauce, what I mean is don't get lost in the political sauce. Now, if you were somebody that was going to vote for Biden anyway, please do, but don't get it confused that basically it's just like, it's the same whatever, it's just wearing a different mask, okay? Instead of it being Joe Biden, they put on the Kamala mask. Same thing, okay? So I just feel like for the first time ever, and like I say, the Democratic Party, whether they actually really put in legislation or policies that really served the black people, they've always never really even felt like they even had to do that, because without a doubt, they've always had the black vote, is how I feel. They've always had the black vote. In terms of reparations, everybody has gotten their reparations. Native Americans, Jewish people of Jewish ancestry have gotten it for the Holocaust throughout. But have African Americans received reparations? No, they have not. And the Democratic Party has never even really made that a huge tabling discussion, right, when it comes to election, because they've never had to. Without a doubt, they've always had the black vote. This is the first time ever, or it was the first time ever, that they did not have a leg to stand on, that everything was so see-through. Everything was so incredibly see-through that, even the standing black vote they had lost. So what do? Okay, yeah, Biden, he's had a few senior moments. Biden has had a few senior moments, but what do? They just, okay, well, we're going to switch it out. Now, all of a sudden, it's, oh, yeah, vote for, it's no longer, Biden Harris. Now it's vote for Kamala Harris and whoever she elects to be her vice president or appoints to become her vice president. And it's like before it never happened. Now it's just concentrate on make sure, oh, you want to vote for the black candidate. Oh, and she's a woman at that too. Make sure you vote for the woman. So what I'm saying is, and I'm not at all uplifting Trump at all whatsoever, you guys, not at all. Okay. I never planned to vote for Trump. I'm not, any of that. But what I'm saying is to you guys, don't get lost in the sauce. And personally, you guys, how I feel about the whole political thing, this is how I really feel. How I really feel is that, right wing, as they say, left wing is still the same bird, right? It's basically, everybody's pretty much on the same team, but in order to dominate, then they say you go left, I go right, and we still basically come back to our own agenda. Okay, that's how I basically really feel. One could be dressed up as a Republican, Democrat, maybe slightly different policies, but overall they still are part of the same powers that be. And they serve not, I don't want to get too revved up, but all I'm saying is this, you guys, is that, it's, I'm not going to say I didn't vote for Obama and I was very proud, very happy to vote for Obama. When Obama was elected, it was like myself, and I'm sure many black people were walking on cloud nine. It was unbelievable. A black president. Oh my God. Like it was really something. But I think since Obama, the people have kind of woken up and continue to wake up, right? And it's not just a Trump thing. It's not just a Biden thing. It's just people in general I feel like are waking up. But in order to kind of lull the people back to sleep, they changed their mask from the Biden mask and they put on the Kamala mask. And if that wasn't enough, now, of course, there've always been celebrities to endorse political candidates, without a doubt. Always has been. But, you take the star power and influence of celebrities. We have Beyonce endorsing Kamala. I mean, like I say, people just throw out political points, right? Are you happy with inflation? Are you happy with the whole migrant situation? Are you happy with the way that Israel has been funded with American tax-paying dollars that could be spent better on the American people? I don't know. But, like I say, in order to kind of lull the people back to sleep, that mask was changed. It was changed from Biden over to Kamala. Never, and like I say, and we're going to get into Trump as well. Trump, maybe he might appear a bit more like, pro-America. We're going to build the border. We're going to build the wall. We're going to do X, Y, Z. We're going to whatever. But at the end of the day, like I say, left wing, right wing is still the same bird. If you were someone who was already going to vote for Trump, vote. If you were somebody that was already going to vote for Biden, then vote for Kamala. But do not get lost in the political sauce and get so like, oh yeah, a woman, don't you want to see a woman president? And don't you want to see a black president? And don't you, like, at the end of the day, the legislation, and I feel very strongly, is that legislation that once they are in power, right, because they've been elected, how is their legislation, the political stuff they put into play, is that going to serve people that look like me? Is it going to serve people that are women? Is it going to, maybe it will. I don't know, because I can't really speak on the future. But I will say that if we look to the past, historically, the Democratic, way back, I think black people, we used to vote Republican way back. But, without a doubt, the Democratic, whether they do anything for us or not, has always gotten our vote. So I just say, let's walk through it, but walk through it conscious and stay woke, y'all. Stay woke, stay vigilant, because a mask is changed and it's a smiling person saying, I'm black and I'm a woman and I'm walking out to Beyonce music and, you know, Meg the Stallion, she endorses me. Like, don't get lost in the political sauce, y'all. But if you align with the policies that she has in play and what her plans are for America, then I say go for it. Go for it. Cast that vote for her. And if you align with Trump and you're then I say go for it. You're a Trump supporter, that's what you do, God bless. But don't get wrapped up in the, you know, don't be a sheeple, right? The people, don't be a sheep, right? We all kind of try to stay woke, stay vigilant, you guys.